Welcome back. All this week, we're taking a closer look at reproductive rights in America. And tonight, we are focusing on the words used in often heated debates over abortion and why they matter. You may have heard the phrase abortion as birth control. It's a common misconception and dangerous rhetoric that can skew the reproductive rights debate and really muddy the waters between contraception and abortion. Take singer Olivia Rodrigo, for example. She's been vocal about her support for reproductive rights, but the pop star got into a bit of hot water with some parents after handing out free Plan Bs during her concerts this year. One father posted on X to accuse the singer of helping his daughter, quote, have an abortion, though the Plan B pill is designed to work before a woman is pregnant. Rodrigo has since decided to stop handing out the contraception at her concerts. But according to the National Abortion Federation, women using abortion as a method of birth control is a myth. The organization's research finds half of all women getting abortions report contraception was actually used during the month they became pregnant. And like we mentioned before, each year, the CDC requests abortion data from central health agencies in all 50 states. In 2021, the latest data that we have, 48 of reporting groups provided information. And here's what it found. When it comes to how many abortions women may have already had before getting another, you can see just over 57% had 0 previous abortions. 24.5% had 1 abortion. 10.5% had 2 abortions. 7.7% had 3 abortions. So we want to dive into that data tonight and wrap our heads around the abortion as birth control misconception. Let's talk about it with Dr. Greg Marchand. He is dual board certified in OBGYN and minimally invasive gynecological surgery. Thanks so much for coming on Scripps Newsline. It's good to see you. I want to start with that 7.7% statistic there in 3 prior abortions. What is likely the context behind those kinds of cases?
I'm sorry, can you repeat what type of case we're talking about? You broke up just a little there.
Of course. So we're talking about cases where a woman has gotten an abortion and she reported having 3 prior to getting that abortion. This was in the year of 2021 coming from the CDC. So the question is just, when you see a woman who typically has had several abortions prior, what is the context that is typically going on with that patient?
Right, so this is a very common scenario. As you saw from those statistics, it's going to be about half of women, half of the approximate 900,000 abortions in the U.S. each year. That's going to be for a woman that's already previously had an abortion. This is a fairly common thing, and there's some very common risk factors. It's going to affect certain races a little higher. It's going to affect lower socioeconomic statuses a little bit higher. It's going to affect women that are not married a little bit higher. And those are going to be the most common risk factors for a woman who's going to have another abortion, or what we call higher order abortions. Now, we don't have really good statistics about the number of women that have had more than 2 abortions in their lives, but based on the data of approximately 25% of women having had an abortion, you can probably estimate it's around 10 to 15%. But you certainly are very, very correct when you're talking about the fact that very few women are using abortion as contraception. I think that might be the one area of the abortion debate that's really not controversial. There's very few people that want to use abortion as a contraceptive. As you said, the majority of women are going ahead and trying to use birth control. In fact, using birth control in the same month they're having an abortion.
Yeah, I guess to that point, why is it then that we hear so much about that phrase of abortion as birth control and that's still kind of in the rhetoric when, as you say, it's not really a thing, it's a misconception?
Right. I mean, it is a misconception that a significant part of the population is using that. It's not a misconception that it's never used. We know from the data that approximately 11% of women are going to be sexually active and not use any form of birth control. So there is probably a small number of women in the 1 to 2 percentile range that are actually using termination as birth control. But as you stated, the majority of women seeking termination, those are going to be women who birth control failed for or were under a misconception about how way a birth control pill works, unfortunately.
So let me call back to the Olivia Rodrigo Plan B story, just because the father, had posted saying the Plan B pill, that was, an abortion pill. Could you just clarify for us, what is the difference between something like Plan B, birth control, and abortion?
Yeah, so Plan B is not considered an abortion pill because it's going to be a progesterone that's going to be taken within 5 days following intercourse. So the idea of it is going to be to block ovulation or stop that woman from ovulating, stop the pregnancy from happening, and it's not really going to be to have the fetus be removed or to terminate the pregnancy. So there is some correctness in stating that the morning after pill is not an abortion, and I could see some people who feel very passionately about the pro-life stance that a morning after pill could be a type of remedy or a solution to causing less women to actually need terminations.
I'm curious, what, if any, are the risks of having multiple abortions?
Well, it is a procedure, and although it's not a difficult procedure, there are risks, and especially if it's not performed in skilled hands, the uterus can be damaged. The syndrome is called Asherman syndrome, when the uterus develops scar tissue because of repeated surgeries, repeated scraping the uterine walls to remove the contents. And unfortunately, this surgery, if it's performed enough times or if it's performed incorrectly, that Asherman syndrome could lead to permanent infertility, making it difficult or impossible to become pregnant. And that's yet another reason that there really isn't anybody who wants to see abortion used as birth control. And I think that's probably the one part of this argument that all sides can agree on is not controversial. I think everybody wants good contraception, especially long-acting contraception, to be available for all women.
Bottom line, I got 30 seconds left here. What would you say as an OBGYN, as the expert in this field? And, you know, there's a lot of, as we talked about, misconceptions that you really would just want to get across right now to our viewers on this topic.
Certainly not to worry about the availability of terminations, and know that your OBGYNs in each state are not afraid to act. As an OBGYN, a pro-life OBGYN, I'd never hesitate to terminate a pregnancy if a woman's life is in danger. Board-certified OBGYNs know what the laws are. It's legal to take care of a woman whose life is in danger, legal to do that abortion in all 50 states. Don't worry, board-certified OBGYNs have your health as their #1 priority.
Dr. Greg Marchand, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And folks, we'll be right back.